Hello, my honeys. This is Kamara with the Black Dove Oracle, and this is another channeled message. And Spirit gave me this one: an illusion you are set to shatter. I think Spirit means that you are ready to dissolve, crush, maybe bring forward a truth. Simply in being who you are. Some illusion has been set up with someone, something. We'll find out. We have 4 groups. And when Spirit gives these topics, I'm kind of like, okay, is that the way to word this topic? But Spirit was like, yeah, it's an illusion you are set to shatter. Now, the imagery I got for your avatars for each group was a sword. So all of these beings are carrying a sword. So they're in sword energy, which is very fitting. The sword in the tarot deck is one that slices through illusion, that helps to bring clarity, that begins to define what actually is, to see things as they truly are. So, yeah, group numbers 1 will be starting soon. Let me put that on. And feel free to listen to one or more of the groups. Know that this is a collective reading, so you'll have to take and choose what feels resonant for you. I want to thank you if you are a current subscriber and you return for these channeled messages. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support, and it's really helping me to grow this brand new channel. I'm always excited to do a new reading, do a new channeled message. This one is kind of a pick a message, but it is going to be a channeled message, so I'm not going to be showing any cards, but I'll do my best to describe them if I do use any. Most of the time, they're kind of mostly channeled messages from Spirit just through the channel, but sometimes there are cards that I use. What else? If you're brand new here, welcome. My name is Kamara, and I go by the Black Dove Oracle. I'm a psychic medium, channeling my ancestors, my spirit guides, and the Divine Feminine Sibyls, all that sit at the feet of Spirit. And I hope these messages are helpful. I hope they're useful. And thank you for joining me here. Please consider giving a thumbs up or subscribing to this channel if you resonate with these readings. I appreciate it. Okay, so we are going to group number 1. So group number 1, I was thinking about how to kind of organize this channeled message in terms of like, what do we ask first? Are there any other critical questions to start with? But what I've done is I've already kind of Palo Santo'd everything. We're going to clear the air with some chimes. And then I was directed by Spirit to use this really small deck I have. It's called the Uncover Your Past Life Oracle. It's a really cool oracle. I don't use it very often, but this time I'm going to start here because Spirit is saying this illusion, at least for group number 1, it might be for all the groups, is rooted in a past life event. And then we're going to go from there. As I get the messages, I just channel them on to you, group number 1. So let's clear the air for you and get started. So group number 1, what's an illusion you are set to shatter. Hmm. Hmm. This is interesting. So, Spirit said this was going to be rooted in a past life of yours. And on this past life, group number 1, it involves you being an ocean traveler, someone who traveled maritime by a slightly older boat. So this is kind of back in the day, like a boat with a lot of sails on it. You might have been an explorer. You could have been a fisherman. You also could have been a pirate. But you definitely were some kind of ocean traveler. And pre-Columbia, Colombian Americans, kind of like in that kind of part of history. It said here that you had a great prophecy. You have a great gift of prophecy. And you could have been on your way to Asia, or you would have thought you were on your way to Asia. That's what I'm hearing. There's something about you during this time that you had to pledge allegiance to a particular religion in order to do the work that you did. So, say, for instance, if you were on a ship that was meant to, quote unquote, explore and discover, because we know those are kind of colonialist terms, you would have had to pledge allegiance not only probably to some kind of royal king or queen, but you also had to pledge allegiance to their faith. So it's saying here, Spirit is saying here in this past life, you may have taken an oath for a faith, but it was really kind of a forced oath. I mean, you couldn't work without it. There's something here about what it says in terms of your death. Your death came by starvation or dehydration. So that's making me wonder about one of your journeys and why Spirit is pointing to this past life journey of yours. Spirit says that as we continue with the channeled message, it will become clear what your role was in the past around this ship and how it links to your current life. Group number 1. I don't think it's any mistake, these avatars, how they are even positioned. And it's weird because there was another avatar there first. It was like, I think it looked like a European woman with 2 knives. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But then I realized she kind of in a picture way looked very different from everyone else because everyone else's picture or artwork was really close up. So I had chosen another artwork for download, just as an option. And I usually try to make it pretty diverse. So I don't really feature more than one ethnicity. It's just kind of like a way of making sure the channel gets, just diverse perspectives visually. But I think this one, group number 1, this is an African woman. So interesting because I'm remembering something about history. So I am still very into history. And one thing that I had learned some time ago that before the enslavement of Africans, there actually were Africans on the West Coast, maybe even the south of Africa, um, south of the continent, that actually explored Um, Mainly, I think there were stories around the explorations happening around the South Africa tip because that tip is the closest to South America, like central parts of Central and South America. And so there have been research and maybe documentation that Africans did their own exploration way prior to any kind of transatlantic slavery. So this is interesting because there's kind of a narrative that, the people that were enslaved in on the continent of Africa, especially West Africa, were very like hunter gatherer. Like they didn't have any kind of aspirations to leave the land or the continent, or there was kind of these assumptions, right, made. But then later, throughout, luckily for some historians, mainly African American historians that were very interested in pre transatlantic slave history. And so they wrote many books out of all this research about, great trade empires on the continent of Africa, like in Mali and um, Egypt and all these places. So it's very interesting that this avatar looks like they might be some kind of explorer, some kind of uh, explorer that went into maybe some kind of boat and followed the currents. And there's something here about a story that is hidden underneath another story to kind of give the appearance or the sense that people who were enslaved were not intellectual or didn't have any connection to science or didn't there's something about that narrative and the particular illusion that you are set to shatter, group number one. Now, Spirit is telling me to say this right now. You do not have to be of African descent for this group, but there is something about the connection of an old story that has never quite been told, not in the way that empowers the characters in the story. And so, Spirit is saying that it's purposeful that it brought this forward as kind of the leading example of what the Spirit is saying, the power of this illusion. What this illusion has done, particularly for you, group number one, is that it is a story that has been placed over the true, actual story of you. It could be of you, I'm hearing, but it could also be of your family. It could be a lineage story. It could also be a cultural story. So you may have to take this where it resonates. But Spirit is saying the story that was overlaid over the true story, the authentic story of you, group number one, it served to diminish your worth. It served to hide just how influential, how intellectual, how innovative you are. Your lineage, you, your culture, your family. There's something here, group number one, that when that story was told, it seemed to get accepted as the narrative. And Spirit is saying here Let me go to the I have an ancestor deck that's pretty new here. I just got it today. It's called Messages from the Ancestors. Wow. Spirit is pointing to this deck. I believe that it is ancestral. So I have the mineral card here. And what it's showing is that it's showing a huge mountain, huge rock wall. And at the top it says solidness. So group number 1, a teacher of mine, Malidoma Somé, spirit bless him. He died or crossed over in 2015, I think. But Malidoma Somé taught something. He was a medicine man from Burkina Faso in Africa. And he taught a African medicine wheel. And I'm just bringing this up because Spirit is saying this is connected. This African medicine wheel, it had several elements on it: water, fire, earth, nature, and mineral. So there were 5 elements on this medicine wheel. I'm familiar with it because I made one of my own. I painted one, and I could tell that story later. But mineral is the bones of the earth, the rocks of the earth, the rocks and the granite, all the things that are of that element, mineral, are considered bones. And bones in many indigenous belief systems, including the one that Malidoma Somé taught from, was said to contain our stories. So bones are the holders, the keepers of stories. The rocks, group number 1, are the keepers of the earth stories. They tell the truth. When, quote unquote, and this is what Spirit is saying, they tell the truth when man has forgotten the truth. When humans decide to tell a different story, the rocks, the boulders, the gemstones, the granite, they hold the actual stories of this earth. They are the storytellers that we must access. And so, group number 1, you are most likely of the mineral people. You are the storytellers of the community, the clan, the tribe. You are the ones that have to hold in a lot of Africa is coming up, so someone listening to this could definitely have that heritage. If you don't have the heritage, look for the symbols, look for the synchronicities with your own culture. In Africa, storytellers are called griots, Groits, I believe is how you spell it. Griots are set to in a lineage way, usually, meaning it's passed down through the family storytelling. And when you do that, you are a keeper of the oral history. Many indigenous cultures did not write things down. And simply because they did not write things down, you had a more colonialist culture that deemed that primitive, that deemed it as unintelligent because people didn't write things down, or they only wrote down certain things. They didn't write about everything. And so what we are learning as we decolonize history is that the oral history was way more powerful to these indigenous people. The oral history held not only the words, the story, it held the emotion, it held the imagery. And we've learned, we've adapted in quote unquote modern times to get imagery, to get feeling from words, but that was not originally how many of our ancient ancestors communicated. They preferred to speak. They preferred to activate that throat chakra and in alignment with all the other chakras. It says here, and I'm going to read it from this book because I just got this deck today and I want to do this card some justice in case there's more information here. It says, birth from the bowels of the earth by teaming up with primordial elements and informed by other geological activities such as lava from volcanoes, collisions with other planetary objects, the mineral kingdom emerged from its initiation by fire. Over billions of years, a number of different forms of minerals evolved from their earliest beginnings until today. Scientists have identified 3,800 varieties of amazing beings. Some minerals are essential ingredients in plants and animal lives. We require minerals for our own good health to function properly. We not only connect with these ancestors by having them as vital support for our bodies, but we also admire various minerals for their beauty and their solidness. Look around and you will see that you are surrounded by these prehistoric ancestors. It's time to survey what is solid in your life and what isn't, and make adjustments as necessary. Are your personal boundaries solid or porous? Do you need to make a stand with others who tend to intrude on your personal space? Or are your boundaries so rigid that you don't let anyone in? Do you further check in with your relationships, or are they solid and dependable, trustworthy? How about yourself in relationship? Do you stand by your friends? Or are you sometimes too solid, impermeable, unable, or unwilling to speak your truth or express your authentic feelings? It is also important to solidify your relationships with spirit, to release your doubts and restore your faith. Make a list of the areas where you need to remain firm and strong, and those are where you need to be softer and pliable. So that is what the mineral definition says for this deck. There was something that stuck out to me, and Spirit said, remember that, come back to that. Initiation by fire. So the illusion you are set to shatter, group number 1, is that you will no longer be defined by a narrative that was never told by you. That you will not sit by and let, I'm hearing for some of you, gossips, backstabbers, detractors. Tell your story and expect for you to just swallow it. Because you have the story inside of you. And there's something here where Spirit is saying, and this is going to be specific to some people, and maybe others will have to find the synchronicity here. But there's something about a story being told, maybe even about your family and culture, that just isn't true. It's never rang true to you. It's never been that thing. It's like whenever people say it, Whether they're talking about it in history class or saying something on the news, you're like, it just doesn't seem true. It just doesn't ring true to me. Now, if this is a family story about a family member that you maybe never met, or, something about how your family may have migrated somewhere for a particular reason because this person did this or that person couldn't do this, there's something in that narrative, that story, group number one, that just never rang true to you. It doesn't answer a lot of the questions that you have. It doesn't fit even with the energy of your family. It doesn't fit even, maybe even historically in some ways. So there's that. And that illusion, it has to do with your work as a keeper of the mineral. Spirit says, if you wonder where your family, where you are on this medicine wheel, and if you want to look up there's some pictures online of this medicine wheel. It's called the Dagara medicine wheel, DAG as in go, ARA, I believe, from Burkina Faso, Malidoma Somé. Excellent medicine man. You can go on YouTube and listen to some of his speeches, talks. So if you are on the mineral, if you are part of the mineral kingdom, meaning the storytellers, then you must understand, group number one, as I turn over these cards. A lot of swords here. You must first understand why it was important that someone decided this story needed to replace the truth. What was the reason for that? If it's directly personally about you, Spirit is saying and gave me a channeled message this morning that I'm going to put on TikTok tomorrow, but I'm going to give you a hint about it because I wrote it down. So, group number one, if this is a personal story, lie that's been told about you, you need to understand that someone thought you were too powerful to let your truth prevail. And maybe in the past, maybe even now for some of you, you've always had some kind of a little doubt here. Am I actually what this story says I am? Do I actually do these things? Why is it that people believe this story so readily? Because for some of you, you don't understand because it doesn't seem to correlate with who you are as a person. But for some reason, whatever this gossip is, whatever this lie is, it seems that people believe it readily. And I think for many of you, it has been hidden behind closed doors. But you sense it because I think you are a great empath. You are a great storyteller. So the greatest storytellers already know the lies from the truth. They have it in their blood. Their bones tingle when they hear a lie. And their bones feel strong when they hear the truth. That's the power of the storyteller. The power of the storyteller is to know when the word is sacred, and the power of the storyteller is to know when the word is garbage. Not everyone has that power. So when they hear gossip, when they hear lies, they can only assume that it's either true or it's not true. This is deep, group number 1. Because the 7 of Swords is here. And somebody needed to create a narrative about you in order to take something that didn't belong to them. It could have been something that belonged to you. Could have been something that belongs to your family. It could have been something that a gift that Spirit desires to give you. Now, Spirit is saying immediately, no one can take a gift that Spirit has deemed for you. So that is the first mistake these, Spirit is calling them liars, made. Thinking they had more power over Spirit to tell the story. Because Spirit hears all words. Spirit hears all truths, and Spirit hears all lies. But there's a little bit of a 5 of cup situation here. Meaning that when ripe, the masterful liar can take advantage of environmental conditions. When ripe, the masterful liar can weave a story that edges on the truth, but just never quite is the truth. It's emotional. So it stirs the hearts of any listener. But with the 9 of Swords here in reverse, group number 1, the betrayal, the lie, whatever we want to call it, the false story, it has never been solid. It has never been a mineral. It's made of sand. It will wash away. It will dissolve. It will just continue to form soft ground until it can stand on nothing, or nothing can stand on it, I'm hearing. So Spirit wants you to know, group number 1, especially those who feel like this is personal for them, that some kind of lie, some kind of gossip, something that has been kept behind closed doors, whispered between people, but never any kind of so-called friend, so-called colleague would bring it forward to you. Spirit is saying, do not worry about that. Because this was a time that you needed to see clearly who are your true friends, who are your true colleagues, who are your true family members, who are your true community. Spirit is saying it was necessary, because without that, you would not have sought out the truth in everything in your life. Do you get what I'm saying? Because Spirit is saying here, from what I'm hearing, is that sometimes we need to know one end of the spectrum so that we would always seek out the other end. For you, because your family, your lineage, your culture has experienced a number of false stories, you are now dedicated as a swords person, regardless of gender here. You are a swords person for the truth. And it is the illusion of the false narrative, the false story, the false gossip that you will slice with your beautiful golden knife. Because Spirit is saying here, group number 1, that you will come to a point, and those who are involved will too, where their story cannot be held by anything. I'm seeing it, Spirit is showing it's floppy. It has no form. It continues to grow weak in the face of who you are. As you grow, as you develop group number 1, or as you have, take the timelines where they are, you are now the keeper of this magic bundle of bones given to you by your ancestors. They have been forged by fire. They have been nourished by water. And they will continue to keep for you as you go places. You will learn how to bury these bones back into the earth and give them new life, because the earth needs their nutrients. The earth needs their story, group number 1. So for some of you, this reading is going to be very esoteric. You will have to be able to keep up with me. So if this is not your kind of reading, it will not be. Because Spirit channels like this through me. I will not dumb down its messages. And so you have to rise up to meet its symbolism, or this is not your reading. Spirit is saying here, your authentic self, your truth, will become so much of you, it just will become your name. When people say your name, Spirit is saying here, that is how Spirit will reverse the spell of this false story. When people say your name, it is the truth. If you've ever heard that expression, it's kind of old now. I don't know if people use it. But they'd say, is this the real McCoy? And back in the day, that was the name of an inventor of a particular part. I forget what it was called, you all. I think it was used for trains or mechanics. This guy made a special part. And then after he made this part, a lot of people tried to copy it, tried to make different versions of it. And people got to the point where they'd be like, is this the real McCoy? Because the guy's name was a McCoy, something McCoy. And they'd be like, is this a real McCoy? And people would say, yes. That meant, is this the truth? Is this the true one? Spirit is saying, group number 1, no pun, you are the true one. And you will marvel some years later at how all of this took place. If you're not doing it now, again, different timelines, but you're maybe marveling even now at how the truth is rising like a phoenix from its flames. And you really did not have anything to worry about, or you have nothing to worry about, because you are the griot. And you will tell this story with flavor. You will tell this story with passion. And most of all, you'll tell this story with truth. Some of you will be asked very soon about something Someone has heard. Finally, a truth teller like yourself will come forward. And they will tell you all the things that these, I get it's multiple people, have tried to keep from you. But Spirit's most important message to you, group number 1, is that this would not have even gotten as far as it did if you weren't considered a triple threat. Okay? Because if you're nothing, if you don't mean nothing, why all the energy? Why all of the effort? So Spirit needed you to know that, group number 1. This was a long one. This might be a long channeled message, but it's okay. I'm here for it, Spirit. But that is your message, group number 1. If it resonates, if it tingles and makes your bones feel strong, group number 1, please give it a thumbs up. Okay. We are going to clear the air here. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, ancestors. Wow. Group number 1. I feel good about this one. I feel good about the story that's emerging from your bones. Okay, so we are going to clear the air and move on to group number 2. I am going to shuffle the cards. So if you just jumped in from the timestamp, welcome group number 2. Thank you for joining me in this reading. It feels, it's not a reading, it's more of a channeled message, but it feels very extended. Group number 1 was about 40 minutes. So grab yourself some tea, get comfortable, because I believe Spirit is speaking powerfully. And sometimes these channel messages, they go for a while, and they have a lot of symbolism in there. If you do not resonate with symbolism or just haven't really been able to get your footing there, give it a try. It's how Spirit communicates. Spirit is not always direct with these languages of ours. One, because they're not Spirit's original language. Spirit's language is through the elements: water, wind, fire, earth. Mineral. If you're attracted to group number 1, there may be a reason for that. So group number 2, let's move into your energy. And let's start with a past life oracle card. Spirit is saying, keep it going for group number 2. There we go. So group number 2, this is an illusion you are set to shatter. Some of this could be rooted in the past. And Spirit is saying, even for your group 2, there is a past life narrative that is, I don't know, framing. I'm hearing the word framing or constructing what it is that you will be shattering as an illusion. It says adventurer here. That is interesting. If you were attracted to group number 1, because here we have adventurer, but we also have explorer, pioneer, crusader, and other. There's a hot air balloon, and then there's a mountain with what looks like a Chinese or Asian monastery of some sort on top of the mountain. But there's a hot air balloon across from it. Wow. It says the time frame for you, group number 2, on this card is pre-Earth. That your identity was androgynous. That the love you express was true love. Your faith was celestial. And you had some trauma around psychic wounding. Your location was in the stars. But it said you died of old death. Old age. Your death was old age. Spirit said that we will, group number 2, get more information about this card. But what I know, or what I'm sensing here, even from Spirit, is that it feels like the hot air balloon and the Asian monastery are from 2 different time periods. Or when they merge together, they're in a more modern age. I don't know. There's something about this balloon. You know, balloons as a symbol lift us up, right? They take us to higher ground. And a monastery, in many ways, like if it's a Buddhist monastery or some other religion, the practice is to lift you higher, right? To raise your vibration. Let's go to some additional cards here, the ancestor cards, which were very helpful on group number 1. So let's see. There's something about you being a very unique being, group number 2. When I look at your avatar, I think androgynous for a minute, because, or non-binary, I think would be better of the word. Something that doesn't automatically say you are choosing a gender, or that it's unimportant to you. The knife you hold is very unique too. It's not a sword like the others. It has 2 blades, from what I can tell. And you're hooded. It means that you have some mystery that you need to keep to yourself. It is not for everyone. And that knife, it is saying here, with its 2 blades, that it is often used when you have to make a decision about 2 paths, 2 roads. Spirit is saying here, your path is the middle path, though. Your path is the middle path. The ancestors have you as a peacekeeper, group number 2. They show you sitting out in the mountain wilderness. Very interesting, because we have that as your opening card. your past life card. They see you in a mountain wilderness with a small fire, and you have a dog by your side. The moon is full but cloudy. And as you stare into the fire, you are connecting with your own divine inner wisdom. Dogs often symbolize loyalty, friendship, what stands by you, what protects you, what gives you companionship. You and this dog stare into the fire. Group number 2. And as you stare into this fire, you are connecting with inner serenity. Let me read what this book has to say. Since it's a brand new deck, I'm kind of liking what this book is saying about each card. So let's go to what the book is saying, because it did spark something for the last group, and I'm pretty sure it will spark something for this one. It says here, this ancestor's charge is to maintain harmony and bring any chaotic, fragmented energies into coalescence of calmness and tranquility. The peacekeeper has an extraordinary capacity to remain centered and calm, even if there is turmoil all around, and has come to understand that conflict is usually due to divisiveness of hearts and minds. This ancestor has become fully aware of the unity of all that is, experiencing the oneness while simultaneously appreciating how it is for human beings to live in a world of duality, where conflict, suffering, and striving can only be mediated through the counterparts of peace and serenity. The contrast and the apparent opposition, light and dark, stillness and movement, feminine and masculine, can be divisive. And the right and the wrong are clung to by opposing points of view. When the opposition remains static and rigid, judgment and turmoil abide. It's easy to succumb to the illusion of separation, making it challenging to experience deep peace and serenity. Yet it is entirely possible to be in the eye of the storm when conflict ranges around you. It says here, cling tightly to righteousness clinging tightly to righteousness leaves no space for reconciliation, compromise, or resolution. Whether this position is sublimated under a canopy of pretense and duplicity, or through anger, judgment, and rigid moral arrogance, it prevents any possibility of peace and serenity to prevail. Put down your sword. Examine your motives. Trust the counsel of your higher self. Throughout history, great change has come through acts of moral conviction, coupled with non resistance and without combativeness. Your situation can only be eased by letting go of the stance of being right and setting your intention to do whatever it takes to breathe deeply, meditate, walk in the forest, and to find inner peace and align your actions with the will of the Creator. That is the only way to come back to your place of peace. Wow. So, group number 2, this is something I've been sensing since the beginning of this channeled message, is that You are of a world that is split, a world that is dual. One side believes one thing and the other side believes another. And Spirit is saying the illusion you are here to set, to shatter, is that there are not two worlds. There is no duality. There is just oneness. Group number 2, some of you with your own body will model oneness. With your own consciousness, you will begin the exercise of merging two disparate parts together. Because for you, group number 2, in the past, you saw in your past life where when people split, they split from nature, they split from their own heart, then nothing was able to survive but violence. And you truly are a peacekeeper. I don't know why, but one of my favorite movies is coming up right now, Princess Mononoke. It's an anime. And in Princess Mononoke, is it Tishaki? I'm kind of not remembering the names of the characters, but the main character, he was bitten by a wild boar that had lost its senses because it had been shot, and it became rageful. And that whole story, Princess Mononoke, is so deep because it says there was a time before guns, before human beings decided that they wanted to rule the earth. There was a time where the animals were just as smart as humans. I think they still are smarter. But they were able to talk. They were the lords of the land, of the earth, protectors, guardians of the earth. And the story that's being told in Princess Mononoke is that when humans came with their guns and shot the animals and treated the animals like they were cattle, herds, the animals became, and this is just the story, stupid. They became animals. And they were no longer able to communicate with humans. They were regulated to a lower being. So this story is about a main character who came from an indigenous group who believed that the animals were elevated, high intelligence. But modern times, right, made them slow, made them unable to communicate amongst each other and with humans. Because they raged, they sorrowed from the loss of this connection with the earth, the loss of their role with the earth. If you've watched that movie, you could tell me more about it. But here's what I want to say, group number 2. That movie is well worth watching for you. Spirit is saying there is a message in there for you. But what you've got to understand, that this journey that the main character was on is very much the same that you are on, group number 2. Because the main character was turned away from their indigenous family. Their indigenous family says, once you've received this bite of the raging boar, you're no longer safe for us to be around. They gave him provisions and they put him out and said, good luck. And it was part of a prophecy, right? In a way, group number 2, there is prophecy guiding your life. You may have been turned away from your family because of the way you wanted to identify. The way that you felt in your heart, this identity was not just an identity. It was a spiritual practice for you. It was a sacred way of being. And Spirit is saying now that you are coming upon this illusion that you will shatter. This illusion has to do with harmony, balance, in many ways, temperance. Right now, many just carry one cup, hoping to meet another with another cup. Whether that cup is full or empty, everyone's in search of a cup because they've given that other cup away, right? They've only cultivated one. While you, group number 2, you have cultivated 2. You were able in the temperance card to move your waters from one cup to another. And in that alchemy, you create balance, you create peace. And Spirit is showing this is new medicine for a violent time. So that new medicine, group number 2, it doesn't get accepted right away. It is always challenged. It is always called not practical. It is called, for some people, demonic, evil. But in your heart, group number 2, you know that it is love. It is the true love. Not the stuff written in books and romance movies, rom-coms. It's true love. To be of one consciousness, to be of one identity, not fragmented. So group number 2, you are leading the way. In many ways, you are this peacekeeper that we all have been waiting for. And what you teach may seem to others as heresy. What you teach may seem to others as a sellout notion because you are a witch of water. Wow. You've come here as a shapeshifter, as a holder of the great sacred bowl of ocean water, and you have walked away from a world that is now burning, that has now turned upon itself. And Spirit is saying here, the illusion that you are set to shatter is to allow people to elevate from a place where they were once limited, where they once had limited knowledge and limited views. You are opening up the gates of that illusion and you are allowing everything to dissolve, to shatter. You have Witch of Water, you have One of Worlds, and you have Nine of Cups. You will realize this as your wish fulfillment, group number 2. And you will do this with the help of the Great Mother, the Great Gaia, the Great Mother Earth. You will receive that nourishment in many ways from nature, group number 2. And you will take a journey. Spirit is showing it to me, group number 2. Some of you are getting ready to travel somewhere, or you're getting ready to move. You may be relocating. Whatever you're leaving behind is on fire. It's chaos. So Spirit is saying, do not look back. It is turning on itself. And the way that you should focus it now is towards the energy of the earth. The earth speaks to you, group number 2, in a particular way. Someone out here knows what I'm talking about. You can hear the wisdom in the air. You can hear the wisdom through birds. You connect. When you go out into nature, I feel like you call in certain animals. It's never a time that you're going in nature, even a walk in the park, without seeing some kind of animal companion. Spirit is saying here, group number 2, go where you can swim upstream. It's showing me a river of salmon, swimming upstream. There's something about that ritual that has a lot of symbolism for you. You must go upstream. You must face adversity. You must face the journey, because when you emerge, you will give birth to something that's quite incredible. You will become the great mother. But you must experience like the salmon, when they go upstream, you must experience that motion, that almost inconceivable journey. Look, the bottom of the deck, right underneath the Great Mother, is journey. So you're about to take a journey. I don't know if it seems like it's a physical journey, but for some of you, it could be a medicine journey. You are about to trek, some of you, in a place where you would need a horse to go part of the way. That's very specific. But if this is your reading, your channeled message, you will know. There's a place where you may, if it's a physical thing, there's a part of it where you have to go by horse. But this place, okay. We're going back to the past life card. Because remember, I told you, it shows a hot air balloon that is rising to the top, and it's going, I see now. I think it is rising to the top because it is going to this monastery that's at the top of an ancient mountain. Wow. You know what other movie's coming to me? I don't know why this group is bringing up movies, but Crouching Tiger. Hidden Dragon, right? Is that right? Hidden Dragon, Crouching Tiger? What if I'm transversing? Sorry. But that end of the movie, right? Where she has to go to the monastery at the very top. And it's never clear, did they kind of end their, unalive themselves, or did they ascend? Very end of the movie. But anyway, there's plenty of movies where there's this great monastery, right? It's remote. It's at a very top of a very steep mountain. You are going to, and that's symbolic, or it could be in many ways true for people in group number 2. You're getting ready to head on a journey. And this journey, wow, it's like literally you are leaving something that once stood grand. It is now burning to the ground. You are leaving. You're setting out on a journey to discover something, group number 2, that will be the catalyst for an illusion you will for sure shatter. All your cards show that you are leaving physically. We have 8 of Pentacles, 2. 8 of Pentacles, as I say, is you are leaving not under duress, but you are leaving because there is nothing else left for you where you stand. You must leave. Mm. And the card underneath that is balance. And again, it shows you out in the forest, feeding the bears, you know, uh, showing the children in wonderment what their connection to nature could really be. They don't have to lord over it, they don't have to destroy it. You will be this great teacher, I am hearing. But there's a journey for you to take. There is wisdom for you to either realize or gather, and there's most certainly group number 2, an illusion for you to shatter. Craftsman of water. So beautiful. Because you will dance under these clouds with your staff that looks like a snake. You will dance on the red clay of the earth, and you will awaken the earth, and you will bring down the cleansing rains. This is what I'm hearing from Spirit. So, group number 2, your journey is sacred. It is an initiation. I saw and heard initiation somewhere in here. It is an initiation for you. And when that initiation is all done and well, now I look at this Peacekeeper card even in more because it's reminding me of an initiation I had long time ago at the foot of Mount Shasta. I did a week-long vision quest where I only had water, and I camped by a river. And I had like a little partner I would climb a certain hill and wave to every morning because that was our way of checking in to make sure each other was safe. But on that vision quest, I did nothing but listen to the river, drink water for my own sustenance, and I became really close friends with an army of ants. We talked a lot. So that is what I have for you, group number 2. Very powerful. I cannot wait until I hear about this journey of yours. Wow. That is the illusion you are set to shatter. It is coming forward after this journey, I think, in a more clarity. But I think a large part of it you already know. It's already with you. There is no separation, only unity. Thank you, group number 2. So we are clearing the air. We give thanks to group number 2, and we go to group number 3. These are long readings, long channels. And I haven't done a super long one, but it was weird. I was getting ready to think I was going to go to bed, and Spirit's like, no, we got this one. We got this one channel message coming through. I said, okay, and I had the energy. I mean, it's pretty late, but I guess this one had to be done in the quiet. Some spiritual work, group number 3, we're heading into your channeled message here. Some spiritual work needs to be done when a majority of the human beings are asleep. So that means very early in the morning or really late at night where it becomes the morning. That's interesting. So let's see. We're going to start with your past life, group number 3. This is Kamara with the Black Dove Oracle. If you just clicked on the timestamp, we are doing a channeled message an illusion you are set to shatter. Groups 1 and 2 have been quite profound and very deep. This is a symbolic reading, so you will need to sit with the symbolism that's being presented, and you will need to decipher it with your own divine inner wisdom. Spirit keeps telling me this message will not be, quote unquote, dumbed down. You will receive it, and then you will take it in. Whatever you don't understand, Spirit is instructing you to take it into your dream life and see if you can get more meaning there. Wow. Group number 3. You are receiving some very direct instruction. Okay, so what is this past life that Spirit is saying starts it all? It's wrapped in that, and then we will. This does not surprise me, group number 3. You got magic. In a past life, you were either a sorcerer, a sorceress, an alchemist, an illusionist, or a Wiccan, or all. And it shows 2 hands hovering together. In the middle is this magic energy. Spirit is saying your faith in a past life that's significant to this reading was highly mystical. You identified as a grandparent, so in this past life you were an elder. It was a time of crusades and inquisitions. The lesson you learned was about power. Your location could have been Oceania. Your trauma was the loss of status, loss of reputation. And your death, your tower moment, your crossing over moment had to do with hypothermia. Spirit is saying it's more important to know that you were a magician. You still are, Spirit is saying, a magician. I'm looking at your avatar, group number 3. Your sword, it is special. It has been forged, Spirit is saying, with the energy of the sky. And it has been forged with the energy of the ocean. Your sword, Spirit is saying, was not forged by fire, only by air and water. That might be significant to your chart even. Air and water, somewhere in that natal chart. The Spirit is pointing to the fact that you are indeed a warrior. With your sword upright like that, you do not take any BS. Group number 3. You do not allow it. You have a way of looking at people when they're speaking to tell if they are speaking the truth. Let's see what the ancestors have to say. Yeah, Earth. You have Earth here. In the corner, it says Life Giver. This book, this is a new deck, the Ancestors Speak. Messages from the Ancestors, rather. I am going to read you what it says about Earth. It is with substance of this very planet, sometimes referred to as Mother Earth or Grandmother Earth, that all physical life is created. She has many names in different cultures, yet all imply fundamental characteristics as life giver. She is the supreme alchemist. There it is, another word, you all. Working with miracles every day and every moment by calibrating the primordial ancestors in the continual dance of birth, death, and resurrection, flowing along in the wondrous and temptress dance of all effortless creation. The cycle of creation always implies the component of death, acknowledging the contribution of all that has come before in order to nourish the beings that are birthed into physical reality and those that are yet to come. In some traditions, offerings and prayers are made before planting season, as everyone waits until there is a clear communication from Earth that it is time to get to work. When the time is right to plant, she lets us know. When the time is right to release the physical form through death, she lets us know. It says here, group number 3, you have forgotten your connection to the natural world as you have found yourself obsessively preoccupied with the mundane, human-made world. It is time to make a radical shift to deeply appreciate your intimate connection to the Earth Mother that has been lost along the way. Walk outside to remember this. Bring to your awareness the miraculous phenomena of existence, of simply experiencing the presence of life itself, expressing as you, not through you, but as you. Group number 3. Pause and direct your attention to the natural world. Breathe in the gift of air. Feel the solidness of that connection to the Mother Earth through the etheric roots extending from the soles of your feet deep into her belly. Look up at the sky. Witness the star nation tonight. Notice the other primordial ancestors as they collaborate with the Earth Mother to generate each new day's unique blend of nature's fluid tapestry. Walk softly on her belly while barefoot, especially in the spring when she is pregnant and in the process of giving birth to 10,000 of her children. Wow. And you heard here, group number 3, that she is the supreme alchemist. In your past life card says either you were a sorcerer, sorceress, or you were an alchemist, or illusionist, or Wiccan. You were and are, group number 3, a dear keeper of this earth. Spirit is saying the illusion that you were set to shatter is that the earth is most definitely a living being, our living mother, I'm hearing. It is not a thing. It is not an ecosphere. It is not an environment. It is our first body. That is what Spirit is saying. And you will teach this, group number 3. The earth is our first body. You will know this because Spirit is saying there is some kind of alchemical process you will go through that will let you know how deep this connection to the earth goes for you and for other humans They're saying that, I'm hearing a they, so it might be your ancestors too, group number 3. They are saying you come from a long line of alchemists that worked directly with nature, with plants. You made medicines. You did really deep treks with nature. Wow. You got the initiation card here. It shows a being at a river with lifting a handful of water up to their lips, while a crow lands on their head, and while foxes begin to tear at their backpack, and another otter takes off with one of their shoes. You know what? I didn't realize this card initiation is connected to the world card, where you see if you were attracted to, I guess it was group number 2. If you're attracted to group number 2, this is a continuation story. You don't have to listen to group number 2, but it is a continuation story. Because group number 2, Spirit showed you on a journey. You're getting ready to head on a journey. And this part is picking up as you are already on the journey. But there are many things that you brought on this journey for your security, group number 3. Things that you thought you would need, things that you needed to survive. They were things from your old world, group number 3. Spirit is saying they are things from your old world that can no longer help you survive. They had a time and place for you. But Spirit is pointing out here, wow, group number 3, you got the 10 of Earth, 10 of Pentacles, and it's showing a network, a mycelium network. It is showing that these beautiful amanita mushrooms, networked with all the trees, are forming a path for you to follow. And this path, it goes far, it goes wide, group number 3. Wow. And it will culminate by ending a cycle for you. A cycle of pentacles. But not just any pentacles, not money. Spirit is saying you are about to shatter the illusion of money. Wow. Of worth, of wealth. Wow. Okay. The World card came out again in this one. So I am quite sure that group 1 and 2 and 3 are linked. 1, possibly 2. So in this part of the story, to catch you up, group number 3, in case you didn't listen to group 2 or you plan not to, is that you had to walk away from a situation that was burning itself down. Chaos. And now you are in a 5 of Pentacle, 5 of Earth motion. Meaning you had to walk away from something, but the little that you did have to walk away with, it's some part, or maybe even currently, it is not enough. Not enough to sustain you. It may be running out quickly. You may have different energies taking off with what you do have. Bills, bill collectors. But there is something here, group number 3. Wow. You have 10 of fire. Spirit is saying here, group number 3, let it all burn down. Let that life burn like a beautiful phoenix. Let it go. There's nothing left that it has for you. You're quite literally getting ready to build something so new, so different. But Spirit is saying you are trying to hang on to things from the past. You want to see if they still have something for you. All of your cards are practically pentacles, group number 3. This one is Craftsman of the Earth, and it's showing a skull that has been consumed by different green vegetation. You will find on this path, group number 3, that you're already on. I'm hearing it loud and clear. You're already on it. You will find on this path that you will need to do a lot of death work, meaning letting things go, letting things transition, and you will need to go to the darker side of your magic, not harmful magic, magic that deals with the underworld. The underworld is not necessarily evil. In fact, it's not at all. Spirit is saying magicians need to know underworld magic, because it's only in the underworld magic that you will begin to see how the light and dark work. And they're saying for some of you, you have avoided this path. You have constructed your own beliefs about it. But what they're saying is the illusion you're set to shatter, quite literally. Where your journey stops, group number 3, your journey will stop here, is when you have learned to cultivate magic in its wholeness. When you know how to construct the yin and the yang. The yin and the yang, the black and white fishes. When the magician holds them, they become solid. They become earth. They become the pinnacle. So group number 3, your magic will bring you pinnacles, but you must first learn how to wield or weld. I'm even seeing the word as weld together, the light and the dark, making it whole, making it so that it becomes solid and it does turn into a coin. This is alchemy, turning things to gold. This is how you will shatter an illusion. Group number 3. Wow. And in all of that alchemical change, you will be able to rewrite how magic really is conducted. That's what Spirit's saying. Some of you, Spirit is saying, if you are a reader right now, you're a tarot reader, you're a spiritualist, you're going to be doing something that's going to shift your entire work. You're going to reach beyond the boundaries of what you thought you were doing. And when you do that, it brings so much wealth to you, group number 3. So, in this particular case, Spirit is saying the illusion that you're set to shatter is one you have constructed for yourself, a limitation, a boundary that no longer serves you. This is why your guides are running off with all that is left of that old world of yours. And they're asking you to stop at the river and get your wisdom from the earth. Everything else, Spirit is saying, doesn't matter. You may want to look up the symbolism or the healing properties of Amanita mushroom. Not saying to consume it, just look at the properties of it or the spiritual properties of it. You may want to research what that mycelium network actually does. There's wisdom in it for you. And Spirit keeps pointing to the two words, life giver. Life giver. Don't forget those two words, life giver. Okay, group number 3. That is your channeled message. Wow. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. Let's transition to group number 4. Hello, group number 4. This is Kamara with the Black Dove Oracle. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to your channeled message on an illusion you are set to shatter. Groups 1, 2, and 3 have quite been the channeled message. And some of them, as usual, have a thread running underneath them, some kind of continuity. So group number 4, you are last but definitely not least. And how I'm starting this off is I am shuffling the cards just to change the rest of the energy here. And then we are going to start with a past life card because Spirit said these cards are important, the past life card. Very important. Important to what's being communicated here. So that past life deck is called Uncover Your Past Lives Oracle, in case you want to know. Then we will be getting a message from the Ancestors Oracle card. And then we will maybe pull a few cards in between channeled messages, group number 4. Okay, so group number 4. Welcome. Let's get your past life message here. Something's very silent about your group. Group number 4. You have current lifetime and you have intellectual. In your current lifetime, it says you're either in adulthood, your gestation period, childhood, teenage years. This might be focusing, it has something to do with your current life, like a timeline here. And it says intellectual too. You may be a philosopher, a scientist, you were a mathematician, an inventor. So in a past life, group number 4, if you were an inventor, you were in grandparent energy, meaning again, somebody else too was an elder. Your faith was that of the mystical. And as an intellectual, very interesting, some of the same things of another group here, but it mentions crusades and inquisitions. This intellectual picture has books and then there's a teacup on top of it. And then it's pointing to your current life in a different card. You're the only group that got 2 past life cards. So Spirit is saying that this past life you held as an intellectual, whether you were an inventor, a philosopher, a scientist, or mathematician, it is strongly, group number 4, influencing your life right now. It is as if the 2 lives are very much connected. In this life, you may be older right now listening to this. Some of you may have had an arranged marriage, or there was a possibility at one point. Take it where it resonates. It's something about your self-expression. You are maybe currently going through it, or you have in the past, even group number 4, been exiled for the knowledge that you had. Maybe this knowledge was because it was held in a different body, like a gender, that society did not authorize to have such knowledge or intelligence, depending on the society and culture you were in the past life. But how it's connecting to your current life, Spirit is showing me, group number 4, is that you are also being challenged right now. There are some belief systems, either in your family or in your community or culture, that is attempting to limit you, attempting to not allow you to fully live in your greatness. This is what Spirit is saying. There is something here that is not allowing you to explore your greatness. It is being clipped. Spirit is showing wings being clipped. Like you are being forced down a path that is not yours. You have great, when I say this, group number 4, Spirit is emphasizing it in a very huge way. Spirit is saying you have a great gift. And Spirit is saying they cannot allow you to waste it. Okay, let's go to the ancestor cards because this is getting deep. Spirit is saying here, you will not be allowed to waste this gift. It is important. Group number 4. We're picking an ancestor card because Spirit is saying they are intervening. Something is being intervened here, group number 4. Okay, ancestors, what is it? I'm using the message from the ancestors deck. Ooh, come through. I'm not getting the card yet. There it is. Wow. Gardener. Cultivation. Okay, Spirit is saying that we have to read from the book. You got gardener and cultivation, group number 4. It says here, In prehistoric times, humans grew their gardens in forests, intermingling medicinal and food plants with the various flora that existed naturally. Through various epochs in history, gardening has not only been used to supply food and medicine, but also for decorative and aesthetic purposes. The gardener who is the one who prepares the soil as needed to provide the best possible circumstances for plants to grow. They tend soil with love and care, nurturing the growth of the very young plants by providing them any other nutrients as necessary. These gardens can supply gifts of food for the gardener and their family as exchange for the love and the care of the gardener. Decorative gardens with flowers and trees provide visual, sensory pleasure, inspiring off the elegant and aesthetic collaboration with the wild and natural beauty of Mother Earth. Hands on gardening encourages appreciation for how the elements work synergistically to support the growth of food for all living beings. The increasing interest in the application of organic gardening assures us that with this love and care, we reduce and potentially eliminate the toxic applications of insecticides and pesticides that predominate gardening and agricultural practices up until a few years ago. So, group number 4. In addition to nurturing the growth of plants and trees, what else are you cultivating in your life? Are you sowing seeds of love and care, nurturing with these blessings and intention? Or are you paying attention to how you affect others? Do you support their growth emotionally, mentally, spiritually? What about yourself? Are you being tending to your own personal garden, allowing it to flourish in the ways that support your spiritual growth and awareness? It's time to examine the ways you ignore or inhibit spiritual growth and take measures that will cultivate your soul's path. Grow a plant from seeds and observe how you feel when you pay consistent attention to this living being's needs. Sing to her, water her, send your prayers, and watch what happens. There is something here, group number 4, and I'm being told in 2 ways we can look at this. It can be quite literal, that you are meant to be with your hands in the earth. You are meant to cultivate medicines and foods and science around food, sciences around the garden, around the earth, cultivating with Mother Earth. There's also another flip side to this, group number 4, which is that you are meant to symbolically cultivate the things that are seeds to grow. Wow. Spirit is saying here, group number 4, you may be meant to be a mother. This is very specific for someone. And you may, at some time, I'm sorry, this is very specific, but I'm going to obey. Spirit is saying here for someone, and it's not everyone in this group, but for this one person, just hold on. You are meant to be a mother. The seed that you have, the seeds even I'm seeing, this is not a job for you that is, how do I want to say, just parenting. It's not that. You are a special mother, a special one, meaning you have something in this area to give. And it may not mean that you're giving actual birth. You may be adopting. You may be doing something that is about cultivating your seeds. Now, that was just specific for one person. For everyone else, the seeds that you're cultivating, it has to do with a passion of yours. Something that is not conventionally thought of as bringing in money, wealth, stability. Whatever it is that your family or community wants you to do, it feels like it's opposite of that. And so, Spirit is saying here, you must cultivate your garden. Spirit is reminding me of the book I read in high school called Voltaire. Was it Voltaire? What was the Candide? Was it Candide? I think that was the book by Voltaire. But throughout the book, he's like, you must cultivate your garden. Meaning the things, your intellectual abilities, these books that you read, group 4, the sciences that you are so curious about, the things that you experiment with, they shall not go to waste. Spirit's like, we cannot allow it. You have inside of you something that is needed by the world. I keep getting pointed to in your past life card the word inventor. You will invent something, group number 4. Whether that is another body or a science or a process or whatever it is, you will invent something that is much needed for the world. And Spirit says it will happen. That these people around you, whether they're family, community, well-intentioned mentors, they cannot stop you from doing the thing Spirit said that needs to be done. Very interesting. Okay, let me get more clarity here. They are saying that your sword is actually pointing in the avatar. It is pointing to the direction, an important direction. It is pointing to something. They said someone in this group will understand what that means. It is pointing east. That sword is pointing east. The direction of the east has something important for someone who's listening to this. Okay, say more, Spirit. 8 of healing. Wow. It has something to do with birthing. It could mean your own birthing, or it could mean that you are working with birthing people, or you are working with children, or you're working around the health and the healing of the life cycle of that, whether it's the life cycle of pregnancy, whether it's the life cycle of children. You are doing something very important that has to do with the healing of mothers and children. Yes, again, there is a connection here to group number 3 and 4. So there is a thread, a continuity. But the initiation card came out again. This will be an initiation for you, group number 4. You will and you must learn the ways of this cultivation. Wow, you all, I shuffled these cards back and forth and the world comes out again. So everyone, Spirit is saying that there's a soul tribe listening to this that is interconnected. At some point, Spirit is pointing to me that show Sense8. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but there's these group of people who are like energetically, magically connected, and they live all around the world. There is something like this happening within all the people who are listening to this channeled message. Different groups, but you all are interconnected at some level. You all are leaving behind something that is no longer serving you. It is a world that is burnt down. It has no more knowledge and wealth for you. It has nothing left. You must take the journey. You too, group number 4. And in this journey, wow, love, the card of love came forward. In this card, group number 4, the love card, it's not two humans, it's a human and an animal, a human and a fox. There are dandelions I'm being called to my attention growing around this. There are butterflies, something highly transformational. Oh, wow, and I'm being called to a necklace that the human being is wearing. It looks like a seed. You are going to cultivate something very important, group number 4. And when you cultivate this, the illusion that you will shatter is that you were never meant for a path that people are quite literally trying to force you to go down. You have a special thing to do. And Spirit is saying that thing is so special, you won't be allowed to forget it. Even if you're like, oh yeah, I'll just do that thing. Spirit's like, you're going to keep coming back. Serendipitous motions will keep bringing you back to this thing you need to do. 3 of Pentacles. It's a work that you will find partnership with. You will find that when you get into this work, there is a lot of support for it. But it's going to be non-conventional support. Yeah, wow. You got the Wisdom Keeper card here, group number 4. So literally in this card, you see a Wisdom Keeper cross-legged sitting before a blanket with all of their magical, mystical nature tools. I'm being called to 2 leaves that are on this blanket. I'm being called to some bones that are on this blanket, deep, group number 1. I'm being called to an amanita mushroom, group number 3, on this blanket. I'm being called to a feather. I'm being called to water. So literally, group number 4, you will take the culmination of many of the teachings and lessons of your fellows from the previous group, and you will hold those teachings and you will combine those teachings in some cases, because you're going to gather all of that information from your fellowship of group 1, 2, and 3. Don't ask me how this is going to happen. I'm just channeling the message. They said you are going to gather all of their experiences, their stories, their wisdom, and you will begin to work with it. You will cultivate something new from it. Wow. And Spirit is saying here, because the dog lies in front of your medicine blanket, you must stay loyal to the teachings. loyal to the gifts that you are receiving, loyal to the people who will provide you with all of the missing pieces. You are the one, group number 4, that will bring together everything that has been channeled from group 1, 2, and 3. You are the wisdom keeper of it all. Like the librarian or I don't know, you are the wisdom keeper. I think librarian sounds kind of very simplistic for what you're doing. Yeah, this is a new beginning. Wow. Ace of Pentacles. Your life will never be the same. Bottom of the deck. 8 of Cups. This one shows the little baby turtles making their journey to the ocean after hatching in the full moon. Again, babies, children, survival. Full moon, divine feminine. Waters, emotions, feelings. There's something there, group number 4. And as you bring together everything that has been cultivated by your siblings of group 1, 2, and 3, you will shatter the ultimate illusion that we have separate destinies, that we have separate paths. Actually, we do not. We are here to work together. Very deep. Okay, my honeys. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So group number 4. As you decide what all of this means, I am here for you. Please consider giving this a thumbs up. Please consider making some comments below. If we need to do a follow-up reading on any questions that come from this channeled message, Spirit says we can. I feel very honored to have done these channeled messages because I believe whoever's listening to this is a group of change makers. Okay, my honeys. If you like or resonate with anything that I have channeled, please consider subscribing. If you like, comment, I love that as well, and invite it in. Okay, my honeys, it is quite late for me, and I will turn in. I hope this was useful for you. I hope that you get something from it, even if you have to check in your dreams to get some of those additional questions answered. All right, my honeys.